Hey students, so this is the part 2 of the Create Your Own App in App Lab video. So you should only be watching this if part 1 is done, which is the design part, and I should have checked it already. If you're not, make sure you go back and you do the design part, because if you do this before you finish the design part, you may get confused and things may not look the way they're supposed to look. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk you through where to go to find the app that you started. So for this, you don't want to start a new app. You want to start or finish the one that you already started. So if you're at your dashboard in code.org, what you want to do is you don't want to go to create again. So we're not creating a new app. But if you go right next to your name, there's a drop-down arrow, and then there's an option that says My Projects. And this is all the projects that you currently have in code.org, which for you guys is not a whole lot. So you should see your app called My First App. Now I have two in there. One is the final app, and then one is just the one I'm working on for this video. So I'm going to click on this one here, and it's going to open your app. And again, you should have an app that looks all finished as far as the design part goes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch back over to the instructions. So now I'm in the instructions that says My First App Programming. So you already did the design part. Now you're going to walk through the programming. And again, there's quite a bit of instructions. I'm going to walk you through the first part in this video, just to program one button, and then hopefully you guys can work your way down from there. So what I want you guys to do is we're going to start with the welcome screen. So what you're going to do is we're going to program this start button to start. So again, I'm just going to read the instructions. So pretty much number 1, 2, and 3 we already did. You just got to make sure that you are in the code part of your app. So if I go back to my app here, again, we want to make sure this is code. So design is where you go to design your app. Right now we are coding our app, so we're going to be in the code part. Okay, so right here, number 5, it says, grab a yellow on event block and drag it into your workspace. So pretty much what that means is we want an event to happen. So we want something to happen when we click our button. So I'm going to go back here and we're going to look for on event. Now the nice thing is it's yellow. So again, these are all the different colors. We have red, blue, orange, green, and so on. So the first one is yellow. So we want this one on event right here. So the first thing we have to do is we have to pick the ID. So right here, if we click this drop down arrow, you're going to see all the things that are in your app. Now you're going to see a lot more. Oh, my thing just reloaded. Let's try that again. You're going to see a lot more than this. You're going to see a whole bunch of stuff. I just see this because I only have one screen ready. You guys should have everything ready to go. So if you look back in your instructions, it says click the drop down next to ID, which we did. You will see a list of all the components we added when we designed this app. Now, if we go back, well, what are we programming in this part? We're programming the start button. So hopefully you should have a component that says button start. So we're saying when we click the start button, what do we want to happen? Well, think, what do we want to happen when we hit the start button? We want it to go to the game screen. That's where the game starts. So again, if I go back to my instructions, okay, we did C and D already. So it says we now need to figure out what block goes in there. All right, so since this is the first time we're doing this, I will tell you what block goes in here. And after this, you're going to have to figure out the rest of the code on your own. And that's what I'm doing in this video. So it says go back into the yellow blocks and grab a set screen block. So pretty much what we're saying is when we click this start button, we want to change the screen, right? We want to be on the game screen. So if I go to set screen, I believe, which should be all the way at the bottom. Yep, right here, third from the bottom. Okay, I'm going to pop that in there. Now, we click our drop-down arrow, and our 4 screens should be there. And they should be named correctly, hopefully, because we need to tell it what screen we want to go to. We don't have a screen 1. Okay, we want it to go to the game screen. So that's what we want to do. So when I run this, if we did this correctly, when I run this, if I click the start button, it should take me to the game screen. So I'm going to run this. I'm going to hit start. Now, don't get confused. My game screen currently is white because I have not designed it. I didn't want to show you all the code and all the app. But if I go to my game screen, you'll see that it's actually white. So if you did yours correctly and run it and hit start, you should see the screen with your 6 buttons. Sorry if you guys can't see my face there. There we go. So if you did that correctly, you should see the buttons, your screen with the 6 buttons. If you don't, we got to double check. Maybe you didn't rename something correctly or something like that. So maybe you want to go back and check your mistakes, or you could ask me for help. Okay, so then, excuse me, what's going to happen now is all your other code is going to go underneath it. So when you're done, this whole screen is going to be just filled with code. All right, so we just did number 6. We just did number 7. Click run. Yep, we did that. If it works, move on to the next step and so on. Okay, so that kind of just explains how to program the first button. I'm going to reset it again. Now you got to program your other buttons, the number buttons, the winners, the losers, all that stuff. You're going to add some sound effects and things like that. Okay, so hopefully that kind of gets you off on the right foot. Again, if you guys have any questions, I am here to help you out. And hopefully you guys can make a good app. Good luck.